After reading about Sir Ian Botham's campaign against the RSPB entitled "You Forgot the Birds," a couple of us from Stop the Cull thought that we would go and have a look at Sir Ian Botham's birds on his shooting estate, and this is what we found. A basic recce on Google Earth helps us locate some rearing sheds right next to a public footpath. In the first shed, we found out the chicks had come all the way over from France, but not all of them had made the journey. So for the birds that had made the journey from France to North Yorkshire, were their lives about to get any better? Well, the regulations are quite clear. There should be adequate ventilation and resting areas. This first shed that we looked into, the only space for the chicks was directly under a heat lamp, and many of them couldn't stay there for more than a few seconds. The rest of them were piled up on top of each other around the edges. Not only do the codes of practice state that the birds must have adequate space, but they should also have environmental enrichment. Perches, scratching areas, hiding places, sight barriers. There was none of that here. And in the second shed, the heat when opening the door was just overwhelming. It was very surprising that there was no ventilation. I had a good look round. You can see the bits flying through the air. That's just literally the sawdust from the heat. It was, it must have been too hot. There's again no perches, which codes of practice suggests should be there. And again, there's no environmental enrichment of any kind. We wanted to get a lot of footage of inside the sheds to show that there was or wasn't ventilation. It's very important to note that you mustn't go inside sheds. We literally opened the door and filmed from the door using a camera. There should have been footbaths to all of the entrances, but there weren't. There is a serious biosecurity risk to the birds. You should never go into one of these sheds. After we'd left the factory farmed pheasants, we went on to see what the gamekeeper was up to. In the back of his yard here you can see a Larsen trap in the back of the vehicle, large grain feeders. Larsen traps not only have to be checked every day, but there also has to be adequate food, water in them, and if there is a dead bird in there, the dead bird has to be removed. So we looked behind the gamekeeper's house in the forest behind, and we found this Larsen trap with set to a catch, no food, no water, and a dead bird. Illegal, possibly facing up to £5,000 fine and up to 6 months in prison. We've got one message. Mr. Botham, you forgot the birds.